Okay, number 3. Which situation can be represented by the value of y is equal to 12 times the value of x minus 4? A, the number of eggs y in X dozen eggs for sale after 4 dozen eggs are sold. B, the cost y of buying X movie tickets that sell for $8 each. C, the cost y after a $4 discount of buying X t-shirts that sell for $12 each. D, the number of inches y in an X foot tall tree after cutting off 4 feet. Okay, so let's go through our answer choices. Okay, so the number of eggs y in X dozen eggs for sale after 4 dozen eggs are sold. Okay, so we know that this is eggs, number of eggs. Well, how many eggs are in a dozen? 12. So this is showing us that we are taking 12 times X for X dozen eggs, right? Okay, so if we have 2 dozen eggs, we really have 24 eggs here, correct? Okay, well, does it make sense if we're actually counting the number of eggs to then take away dozen? Isn't 4 dozen really the same as 12 times 4, which is 48? Well, if we're counting the eggs here by multiplying them by 12, because that's how many is in a dozen, we wouldn't be counting the eggs by dozens over here. We would have to actually say 48. Well, we're not taking away 48 up here. So our units of measurement are off, because over here we're counting each individual egg, and over here we're counting the eggs by dozens, and those units of measurement have to add up if we're going to add or subtract them together. So it can't be A. B, the cost of buying X movie tickets that sell for $8 each. So if we're going to the movies and I'm buying the tickets for all my friends and they're going to pay me back, if I have 2 friends going to the movies, I would pay $8 for this friend and $8 for this friend. So 8 times 2 is 16. So that would be the same as 8x, right? Well, if you look in your equation, I don't have 8x. I have 12x minus 4, and those are not like terms, so I cannot subtract them and get 8x. So it cannot be B. All right, the cost after a $4 discount of buying X t-shirts that sell for $12 each. So again, let's play pretend. I'm buying 2 t-shirts at the mall, and they're $12 each. That would be 12 times 2, so 12 times X. Well, what if I bought 3 shirts? And then it would be 12 times 3. What if I bought 4 shirts? 12 times 4. So 12 times X, and then I get a $4 discount. So I would be taking away, because a discount means that you're getting rid of, you're taking away 4. So that's exactly what I see, but let's go ahead and read D. The number of inches, now keep in mind, we want our end unit of measurement to be inches. In an X foot tall tree, well, how do I change from feet to inches? Well, I know in 1 foot there are 12 inches, so this would be the same as saying 12 inches times however many feet I have. That's going to give me the number of inches. And then cutting off is the same as subtraction. But look at my unit of measurement here. I'm measuring this tall tree in inches because I'm multiplying it by 12 according to the equation, but then I'm subtracting 4 feet. 4 feet is really 12 times 4, which is really 48 inches. Just like A, we have to be counting in order for our final unit of measurement to be inches. We have to make sure everything in the equation is being changed to inches, which is why we're multiplying by 12 here. We're not counting in feet, which is why we have 2 different units of measurement, which would not be like terms. Therefore, D cannot be the answer. It is C. All right, number 4. Given the line 2/3 times the value of X is equal to 48, which statement is true? The line is parallel to the X-axis. The line is perpendicular to the Y-axis. The line has an undefined slope. Or D, the line has a slope of 0. Okay, I'm going back to my equation because that's going to give me some clues. Since I look at my equation and what do I notice is not there? There is no Y. No Y. Which needs to clue me in to that this is either a Hoy or a Vux equation. Now, if I don't see a Y, that means it can't be a Hoy because a Hoy equation has to have a Y in it. So this one is out, which means now I'm dealing with a vertical line, which means I know that my graph picture is straight up and down. I now know the exact value of my slope. My slope is undefined. And I know how my equation is supposed to be written. It is supposed to be written X equals the input value. Okay, so some of you are probably like, well, Miss Love, but it's got a 2/3 in front of the x or beside the x. Well, can't I divide off the 2/3? Because isn't 2/3 divided by itself 1? Okay, and can't I then divide the 48 by 2/3? So let me clear my calculator and let's do this real quick. So I can say 48 divided by 2/3. And I got 72. So I now have an equation where it's x equals 72. And that probably looks a little bit more familiar to you. I'm going to go ahead and make this a 1. Now I have an x equals an input value. Okay, so let's go through here. Okay, so remember, it's vertical. Is a vertical line parallel to the x-axis? No, because remember the x-axis is a horizontal line. Those lines aren't parallel. Perpendicular to the y-axis. Remember, the y-axis is a vertical line. Are these two lines perpendicular to each other? No, because they have to cross at a right angle. Two vertical lines are going to be parallel. This can't be it. Does it have an undefined slope? Yes, it does, because a Vux line has a u in it, which means that the slope is undefined, and it can't have a slope of 0 because that's a hoi. So the correct answer is C. All right, last question on this page. Determine the slope of the line that passes through the points M. It is -3,5 and N 1,8. Okay, if they want you to find the slope, guys, they just want you to do y minus y over x minus x. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Remember, we got to take our y values, though, first. So I've got 5 and 8. So I'm going to do 5, 8, and I'm going to subtract them. And that's going to be over x minus x. So x is the first numbers in the ordered pair, so I have to make sure I put them in the same order. If I chose x to be first, that means I have to choose -3 first because they are in the same parentheses. And then I'm going to subtract. All right, 5 minus 8. If I can't trust my mental math, I'm going to use my calculator. 5 minus 8 is a -3. And then -3 minus 1 is a -4. And now, before I can write my final answer, I have to simplify my ratio. So -3 over -4 is going to give me 3/4. But if I'm going to put this in to a griddable, it has to be decimal. We can't grid fractions. So what I'm going to do is I have two choices. You can either hit math and change it, hit option 2, or you can just go ahead and carry out the division. This would be 3 divided by 4, which is the same as 0.75. Now, on a griddable, since they don't have a set place for the decimal, I can start my answer in any column I choose. For me, I always start at the very first column, and then I ignore the rest of the columns. I only use the columns that will be my exact answer I got in the calculator. I won't add anything. Since your answer is positive, you could bubble in the positive sign, but if I don't, you still know your answer is positive. You definitely have to make sure you bubble in the negative sign if your final answer is negative. But ours is positive, so I'm not going to bubble in anything, and the scanner will know that my answer is 0.75 positive, 0.75, which tells me that my graph line is slanting in the up direction. It's a puff, puff positive line.